Welcome. This is Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Schwartz, and today joining me, he's been on here a lot. He is the NBA expert for The Assist, and we've had to delay this podcast a couple of times because of the weird things going on in the NBA, but we're going to try to talk basketball and stuff like that today with most of the round one series being concluded. We're recording on Monday, so we still got Denver, Utah, Houston, Oklahoma City to figure out, but, I mean, doesn't really matter. They're not going to win the title anyway. So joining me today is Salvador Corona. Sal, how are you?
Good, Zach. How are you? I'm glad to be back here. You're right. We have been trying to record this for a while, but there's been a lot going on in the NBA.
Yes. A lot going on in my life, too. I took a couple weeks off again. Just happened sometimes moving in, and now we're here. We're back at UCF.
Getting settled in and stuff.
Exactly. And we're here. We're going to pump out some sports content here because I don't know how much longer we're going to have sports for. Cause
oh, boy. College
football is going to try, and I don't know.
The NFL's going to try.
I know.
All these sports are going to try, but we'll see.
I know. I got a college football preview. I don't even know what to call it with one of my friends this week scheduled.
Some conferences are playing, some are not. Some players, it's so weird.
The SEC is going to start recruiting like farm boys to come in and be like, you're not a player now. Come on in. You're here by week 10 of the season. But anyway, okay. Basketball. A lot of these series were quick, as I feel like is the tradition for round one. I gotta be honest, I haven't been watching too closely because even like with Milwaukee, losing game one, I'm like, well, I mean, it's just a formality, stuff like that, and that's why I think the first round's a problem. But still, there has been some intrigue, and there's a couple things going on that I do want to discuss. So let's start with Milwaukee with your Orlando Magic. You won some money on the Orlando Magic game one. I don't know if you're comfortable talking about that. Congratulations.
Yes, I did. You're right. I don't know why. I always feel strong about the Magic game one of the playoffs just because they're a team that if they get hot shooting, nobody can beat them. And then it takes like another game for obviously a good team like the Bucks. They're going to okay, we got to change up our game plan and then we're going to beat them. But the first game you kind of just got to feel them out, especially because a team that the Magic, they're not highly watched, so you don't notice a lot of stuff they do. But yeah, I did win some money. I was excited for the first game, but I humbled myself and I'm like, this is all we're gonna do. I told everybody oh yeah, so the Magic, they won the first game, so what do you think you're gonna do? I'm like, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean for sure. And I mean they did it last year, right? They beat Toronto last year in game one in a similar 8-1 series, so hey, I mean it all works out. But yeah, so Milwaukee eventually formality, and it's tough too for your Magic when Giannis puts up a 30, 16, and 6 throughout the series. It's just he is something
Jonathan
else.
Isaac and Aaron Gordon to defend him.
Jonathan Isaac, I mean, I'm in on him. But it's tough now. It's getting tougher here.
Two knee injuries, yeah.
Yeah. No. The person I want to bring up for Milwaukee, because I think you have some Milwaukee takes here, because you as you said, you're an Orlando fan, so I'm assuming you watched every game of the series pretty closely, just for your team. So I'll reserve that for a second. But I just want to point out Chris Middleton, his scoring numbers across the 5 games: 14, 2, 17, 21, 21, and that's supposed to be your number 2 All-Star option. That doesn't bode well to me for the Bucks.
Yes. No, that's the thing. If obviously you have Giannis, which is Defensive Player of the Year, potentially MVP of the year, but if these guys aren't hitting their shots, that team falls apart because that's what they rely on. So the way the Bucks run their game plan is Giannis will bring it up, he'll drive in. If the Magic did a good job of building a wall at some point, and then once they build the wall, he kicks it out, and then one of the shooters are open for a 3. If they're not hitting those 3s, they're not going to be successful. Yeah. So like you said, Middleton wasn't hitting the 3s. And then I know they didn't have Bledsoe for probably the first or second game. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. So that kind of hurt him. And they were kind of just getting into it of the whole probably lockdown also ruined their momentum, which that sucks. That's why I'm not all bought into them. If the season hadn't stopped, I would have been oh yeah, the Bucks will ride their momentum. They'll ride it all the way to the NBA Finals. But I don't think they're going to get past the Heat if their players can't consistently knock down their shots.
Wow, so you really think Miami? I mean, they're next on my list. So we can go ahead and transition here a little bit. You think Miami could really have a shot to knock them off?
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially, I don't know, the way the Heat. It's gonna be a battle of the 3-pointer right there. Whoever makes more threes in the game is gonna win that game. And I think they match up well. The Heat I think they're in the top 5 defensive teams. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're top 5 defensive teams in the league. So their defense is on par, and I think if they find a way to keep Giannis under 30 points, I'm not even saying under like 20, under 30 points, and they're hitting their threes. That's all they gotta do.
I just I was joking with one of the guys I met recently at one of the events we had where socially distance everything. Don't come after me. And he's a Miami fan. I was talking to him. I was like, so like Jimmy Butler, inefficient. He kills me with numbers. Like I am like you look at Miami's roster, right? Duncan Robinson, former Michigan man. I knew him before everybody. Brilliant shooter, obviously. Tyler Hero, rookie, brilliant shooter. Bam Adebayo broke out this year. Like and Goran Dragic, even I made a note of that he's their leading scorer right now through the playoffs. Yeah. Like he's kind of come back as well. So like I look at their roster, I'm like, these are nice pieces. This is nice. And then Jimmy Butler, I just like he's a shade under 20 a game. He's shooting 41% from the field. That's not 3-point. That's total. That's problematic.
Yeah,
that is very problematic. Like I'm looking at and truly, I mean, normally I come into podcasts. I'm like, all right, I'm all in on these 3 teams. Like this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm positive about. I did all these series and some of these numbers for the games and stuff like that, and looking through and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't like any of these teams. Like all these teams have their flaws. Like even LA, like the Lakers. I've been on the Lakers since December or whatever. And even I'm looking at them, I'm like, this isn't good. So I'm gonna push back on a lot of stuff for different teams here. But like, I don't know, like, just I've been out on Butler for a while. I just such an inefficient player to me.
No, and you're totally right on that. He's super inefficient. Before the playoffs started, those 8 games they played, Butler was out versus the Celtics, I believe. Maybe not. No, he played versus the Celtics. He was out versus one of those big teams, and the Heat were so efficient without him. It was crazy. I think I texted you, and I said it is probably the Heat's best game without Butler. And you're totally right. So that's the thing. If they don't necessarily need Butler to like be putting up 35 and whatever, but he has a potential. He definitely has a potential. Even though he's super inconsistent, he has it in him. So that kind of gives you more of like a thing to like root for the Heat. If Butler is on his game, like no one can stop them.
Yeah,
and this is coming from a Magic fan who like Magic Heat. Yeah,
there's a rivalry there.
So, but yeah, I like the Heat against the Bucks a lot.
Okay, I feel like it's a type of series where like going back to the Bucks struggles, like it could go 7, and then Butler will just shoot 40 times and make like 15. And that's it. And that's what it does. Like it's just that type of game, and like Duncan Robinson staying in the corner, like, bro, like, hey, and Spo's yelling at him. I feel like that's where this is going, or like 6 games or something like that, where like it's 2-2 or something like that, then it just craters.
It's definitely not gonna be a 4-1 series either way. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a game 6 or game 7. Like
you're gonna pick the Heat though, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
I like it.
I think Heat in 6. Yeah.
Heat in 6. Okay.
Heat in 6.
And then where does Giannis go? To Golden State next year?
I hope not.
Is the number 2 pick enough for Giannis? That's the question. I want to do a touch on Indiana here because they got swept, and I know they didn't have Sabonis.
Yes.
And like Indiana again is a team where I look at their roster and I'm like I like these pieces. Like I like Sabonis, obviously Victor Oladipo forever the one that got away for you.
Yeah.
But the Miles Turner thing. They gotta trade him. Like they gotta get him out. I like Brogdon a lot. And obviously, I think Oladipo, I believe, is a free agent either this year or next year. So they're looking at that situation as well. I mean, I feel like they have the pieces to build something decent, but I think the next year is critical for them. What do you do with Oladipo? What do you do with Miles Turner? Because there are going to be people available. I don't think they necessarily have enough for a Bradley Beal type, but we were talking earlier, like Joel will be available for sure. I don't know if they want to go on in those stakes, but Denver probably, depending on how this Game 7 goes tomorrow, could be trying to make a move too. Like I feel like there's going to be a lot of aggressive teams going on in the offseason, stuff like that, especially with the cap. that Indiana could try to play around with, I think they'll be a factor.
No, yeah, I think they definitely have to do something. I don't know what it is, but like you're right. On paper, they're like, oh, they should be third, fourth in the league easily in the East easily, but they're not. And obviously the injuries, Vic just got back, so all that stuff, and like they got swept, but they need something else. They're not like a complete team there. It's kind of like the Dallas Mavericks don't want to jump to the West, but like they also need something. They're like right there. They have these players, but they need a piece.
Yeah. I know there were, I was listening to a podcast just before he came over with Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo. Shout out to people who are more successful at this than me. But they were talking about possibly Mike D'Antoni, going to Indiana next year because they just fired Indiana just fired their coach, and obviously D'Antoni, it seems like they're going to be done with Houston no matter what. So that's an interesting one. Although Bill Simmons did counter with the fact that he just kept saying, like, Pelicans is D'Antoni. And Ryan was like, do you know something? He's like, Pelicans with D'Antoni.
I saw something also about like coaches that could get a shot next season, and the name Mark Jackson was thrown up there.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, I don't know. Like he had one. How many seasons was he with the Warriors? 1 or 2?
Oh, it had to be more than 2.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, let's get out the fancy dancy research here.
But yeah, like and it's kind of unlucky right after he left. Not unlucky. You could say it's either unlucky or whatever. But right after he left, that's when the dynasty started.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, okay, yeah, Mark Jackson was... I mean, I think he won 50 games once or twice with the Warriors. But
yeah, you're probably right. He was there for more tthan 2. It just seemed like he was there for a short time, like in and out.
No, compared to Steve Kerr. All right, I don't care about his playing career. We know he was like a... 3 years. All right.
Okay.
23-43, 47-35, then 51-31, and never made it past the second round. With Steph Curry and Klay Thompson.
Yeah, so like I don't know there's gonna be some shakeup in the coaching this I'm not gonna say this summer, this fall, this winter, whatever it's gonna be.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, this off season it's gonna be some moving around.
Whatever the hell the off season is, yeah. Okay, Boston versus Philly. I told you pre-show I don't really. Devin Foster, obviously, who's been here before, is a big Philly fan.
Probably listening to this, like, don't talk about it.
I know. So, Devin, if you are listening, you're gonna come on at some point. We're gonna do an hour probably on the Sixers themselves. At this point, it needs to happen because it's so ludicrous how the process and how it's basically failed. I mean, right? Like not even get out of the second round, and how individually talented Joel and Ben are, and they can't figure it out. Maybe we'll just do a half hour on Joel Embiid trades. We'll figure it out. We'll like do the salary thingy on ESPN. Anyway, Boston swept them, which is the point of why I'm talking about all this. And they look really good. There are a lot of questions about Kemba Walker. I know coming in with his injury and his knees and stuff like that. Another Kyrie situation, or Isaiah Thomas, I should say as well. Not Kyrie. I don't know, who am I thinking of with arthritis? I guess Todd Gurley from the Rams. I don't know why I said Kyrie. I just don't like Kyrie, so there you go. Boom. But Kemba came back averaging over 20 a game, as is Jason Tatum. I just want to read out a couple numbers here because Tatum's really I know we've talked about the level he's gone up, and a lot of people have this year, but 25.8 points per game, 9.6 rebounds a game, 49% shooting from the floor, and then 44%, I believe, I can't read my own handwriting, around 40% three-pointer as a big 3 guy there as well. And then obviously Jaylen Brown kicking in as well. So, I mean, we talk about Milwaukee. We've already talked about Miami and stuff like that. I'll force us to pick who makes it out of each conference before this pod ends. I don't have an answer right now for the East. I don't. And the more I think about it, Boston looks pretty. They look pretty good. However, they don't have a rim protector. Daniel Tice is not a rim protector.
No,
and I love Taco Fall. Neither is he.
No. Well, it's funny we're talking about the Celtics. That's who I think is gonna make it out of the East. I think it's gonna go to 5 games with the Raptors, and then obviously they're gonna win that conference, and then like I said before, the Heat are gonna win the Bucks series. So then it's gonna be a Heat Celtics, and I think Celtics just have a little bit more maturity there with them.
Yeah,
that's gonna excel there.
Just the amount of wings they have too. I mean, Jalen and Jason Tatum are grade A. Any team would want that. Marcus Smart, I mean, as much as I don't like the end of the shot clock 3 stuff like that, he's a pit bull on defense. Yeah. So he's just, talk about someone who could actually mess up Giannis a bit. And I know the size, before people come at me with the size difference, just watch Marcus Smart. It's a fact. He could actually deter him a little bit. Stuff I know you're not thinking with the Heat, but I'm thinking in my head with the Bucks. With my selection, Boston has a lot of wings you can throw at those guys, and obviously the rim thing's an issue for me because I mean they have Daniel Tice, as I said, they have Enes Kanter, who hasn't played a defensive minute in his life. But it's just in such a wide open thing, I mean, the level of superstar that Boston, they've had this collection of talent for a while, Boston has. And now, especially with Tatum ascending, I think that gives them that extra dimension to where it gives them that ceiling, because it's almost like it's almost like the Indiana problem. Like, you can have this great group of players, right? This little young nucleus.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that guy that takes that leap at some point, you're never going to make it far.
No, exactly. And yeah, you're right. This is their time. And more than ever, like, they should take advantage of this weird opportunity that they've been given with the season being paused and restarted. Like, teams are not where they are, and people are gonna say what they want about, does the season count? Is the season does the season like go in the books with an asterisk on the side?
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I think a championship is a championship, and they have a chance this year.
Should the championship have an asterisk?
I don't think.
Did we already talk about this?
Well, the thing is, I don't know if we did in the last pod.
Let's just go for it.
I think it should and shouldn't. So, like, it should, but in, like, not the way you're thinking. Like, I think it should as in this season required, like, more ability. Like, these teams need to be more prepared. Like, being out for so long and then just having to be called up and have to get in shape and have to, like, I don't know, just get back to the swing of things after some of these players weren't even putting shots up for, like, 2 months.
Yeah.
I heard. So, like, they didn't have a gym to put shots up. So, in that way, like, they had to, like, be more prepared. They have to... They're professional athletes, so they can get their stuff together, like, snap some fingers, but they still needed to, like, go through the motions and all that stuff. So, I think in that sense it could have an asterisk, but I don't think it should have, like, an asterisk in the sense of this championship doesn't mean as much as other years.
Yeah, so you're saying it's actually harder
Yeah.
to win this year. So they should
Yeah.
get 1.5 trophies.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Okay. I like it. No, I like it. I also think it's just we're going to be playing the game here where it's like, if LeBron wants to be like, well, he really only has, what does he have, 4.5 titles? No, it would be 3.5 then.
There's going to be that argument. Like, there's all the Jordan, like, stands. They're like, oh, Jordan and LeBron.
Yeah.
They're going to be, oh, but LeBron won in the quarantine, in the bubble, so that doesn't really count as a championship.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be on the other side, like, if LeBron doesn't win, LeBron couldn't even win in the bubble. Like, he didn't do that. So
But yeah, like Giannis, another one too. First title. You're supposed to MVP 2 years in a row. You can't win.
Okay, speaking of MVP, the one thing I do think it's not, like, season awards, like player awards. I don't think this year is gonna count that much. Like,
yeah,
even with Giannis, like, I don't think he deserved to get defensive player of the year.
Who would you have had for defensive player of the year? Can't be Rudy Gobert. He gave the whole league COVID.
No.
He shut down the whole league.
I don't know, but I just like I can't think of the name. Who was in second for that?
I don't know who was second. I mean, Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis. Yes,
was in contention.
He had. I think I saw a stat that he had like 20 more blocks than him and like 15 more steals and like his plus minus or whatever. Like, I don't know, but many people were saying he won it because it's like a better story, I guess. And that, I don't know if you saw that thing. The whole thing came out with like some ESPN person said that she was a story voter. So like this person had a better story, even though he was like for MVP. When these people vote for MVP, if like LeBron has a better story than Giannis, like he's gonna win it over. Like if
that's pretty dumb.
Yeah, I think it's stupid.
That's pretty dumb.
I think it should be like the best player. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because like for example. Let's say this year it was Giannis' first time winning an MVP. People are big. Oh, it's his first one, so like he should win it more over LeBron.
Yeah. No, it sucks because it actually just happened in the English Premier League because Liverpool obviously like won and they were like a historic level team. Whatever, they secured the title, the earliest thing, whatever. So there was movement because they're such a great team to have their captain Jordan Henderson be the footballer of the year. Now Jordan Henderson, he's a great captain. He's a great guy. He's not the 5th best player on his own team. And soccer people are nodding like, oh yeah, you're right, because I am right. Like it's just it's easy. Like And I was saying, my friend and I were texting about it, and I was like, Kevin De Bruyne should win because Kevin De Bruyne is a midfielder for Manchester City. He's truly, I think, the best player in the Premier League, and he had a fantastic year. And De Bruyne ended up winning, so that gives you your argument there. Is like the narrative sometimes just like because sometimes the narrative really, really takes hold, and it's just like okay, like it's too much because a lot of times like you could also do the thing where it's like we can name LeBron MVP the past 15 years. Like I don't agree with that either. Just because you're the best player doesn't mean you have the best season type thing. But,
I think the only award that you can use the narrative in the story as a criteria is most improved.
Yeah,
that's the only one. Or like but like other than that, it's like it's you shouldn't.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so you said Boston would beat Toronto in 5 games. So to me, that sounds like you're a little down on Toronto compared to most.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those Raptors, defending champions.
It's the thing is like obviously they swept their first round series, and to be honest I didn't watch like much of their game just because I don't know it was
the Brooklyn Nets are a college team right now.
The Brooklyn Nets versus the Toronto Raptors, like come on, who's gonna watch that? That's why like they were playing the Nets the first round too, so they're gonna have to like come in here and play the Celtics, and a team that I don't feel like they have the guy. Like you were talking about, you need the guy to like take over. They're a well coached team. They're well balanced, but they don't have the guy that's gonna like take over when there's 4 minutes left and they're down by like 6 and they need someone to like take over the game. They don't have that person.
So that's a perfect lead into what I'm saying. We did not rehearse this. There's not a Google Doc here, but that was beautiful because I was saying the Raptors are the only team I saw that had 6 scores over 10 points a game. So that's Van Fleet, Siakam, Ibaka, Norm Powell, Kyle Lowry, Terrence Davis, nice rookie, 2nd round pick, I believe, and then OG Anunoby, whatever.
Anunoby.
He is like 9.6, so technically 7. But to your point, none of those guys are over 20 points a game. And I don't know how I feel that Fred Van Vliet is my leading scorer. I mean, I get he's around when I was still a big college basketball fan at Wichita State there, but it's the exact conversation. It's the type of thing where I think they're almost. I mean, obviously they won the title. They lost Kawhi, so this is largely the same team that had that. But to me as well, like that's the difference. I think to kind of what you're saying from Boston versus Toronto is that Boston has Jason Tatum, has a level, and Siakam can kind of do that sometimes, but not to that Tatum level. And as I said right now, he's at 19 a game, which isn't terrible, but it's not grade A option level there that you need to keep advancing through it. As Kawhi literally dragged this team through that series with Philadelphia last year, so. I'd say Boston 6. I'll go with. I'll give Toronto 1 game, and good. Boston already is up 1-0. We should add.
Yeah, so. They are up 1-0. I didn't even watch the game yesterday, but
I don't know what I was doing yesterday. I was playing Warzone. Just being honest. But I heard it was a pretty demolition type game. I mean, Boston came out pretty strong. So so Eastern Conference, we both are half on Boston. I think I don't know. What are the odds for Boston? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Boston, even regardless of if the Heat do end up making it or the Bucks. I still think Boston will be victorious versus any of those two teams. And like I don't know, they have the players, they have the coach. I'm feeling good about Boston this year.
Yeah, I think the more I look at it, the less complaints I have about Boston's roster, and obviously with Brad Stevens, one of the best coaches in the league, top 3, easily. Let's see here. We are going to. I'm trying to pull up the Eastern Conference odds right now because I'm just curious. Not that I'm going to do anything. Futures. Okay, so the Clippers are favored for the title. Oh, with the Lakers. All right, Boston's 7-1 for the overall championship. Just saying. Eastern Conference winner Milwaukee's actually favored, negative money, so -115, so barely. Toronto's 7-2, plus 350. Boston is plus 255. I don't want to do that math. I had like 5-2 basically.
Yeah.
And Miami's 8-1. So just for the people out there, I know there's some people out there who do like this stuff.
Put your money on Boston.
We like Boston.
We like Boston. Or, I don't know, the Heat, not really.
Heat 8-1's not bad. Not bad viewpoint. Having to pay money to do Milwaukee's kind of tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to transition to the Western Conference. where the Lakers, I think we all saw what was happening with the seeding games, that Portland was coming up, and obviously Damian Lillard's a top 5 player in the NBA right now for sure. We kind of saw with the Lakers guard rotation with Avery Bradley being out and such, and Rajon Rondo obviously being injured as well, though I don't know how much he helps you at this point. Just honestly, if Rondo's out, everyone's getting scared. I'm like, it's Rajon Rondo when he's like 40. Like, I don't understand. This isn't like 10 years ago, Rondo. Anyway, sorry, quick digression there. But we thought there'd be some interesting things, and I believe Portland took game 1 off them, right?
Yeah,
and then
they
the Lakers came back 4-1. Anthony Davis, 30 points a game, 9 rebounds, and LeBron is averaging a triple-double because that's what LeBron does, 27, 10, 10. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I've been in on the Lakers for a while. If you go back and listen to our pod, I believe we did one like February or so, before the season shut down, just to kind of check in with everything, and I was on the Lakers then. I know you were on the Clippers, so we'll see if that's revised now. But I was on the Lakers. I think I still am, but I mean, it's just looking at the construction of the team right now. It's just weird. It's been weird the whole season, and even now I'm kind of looking. I'm like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I don't know how you felt.
I watched that game 1, and it's hard. It's for LeBron James. Like, he definitely has to be frustrated with his team. I don't know if you watched that game, but that game was so hard to watch. Danny Green played a horrible game. Like, everybody played a horrible game but LeBron.
Yeah.
And then even Anthony Davis. But then that's the thing. See, that's why, like, when Anthony Davis and LeBron, their last game, I think they combined for like, I don't know, like more than 70 points. When they're hot, like obviously who's gonna be a better team than the Lakers when LeBron and Anthony Davis are playing at the top level.
Yeah.
And obviously they're missing some players like Avery Bradley, and some people are like, oh, it's just Avery Bradley. No, Avery Bradley's a great defender, and like I think that's a key player they're missing. So if they had him, I would be more on the Lakers. But I am a little bit more on the Clippers still. I'm still sticking with my earlier season prediction.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because, like you said, like the Avery Bradley thing, I know I'm making fun of Rondo a bit here. But, like, Avery Bradley's better than Alex Caruso. Yeah. Avery Bradley's better than KCP, and that's who the Lakers are trotting out right now, as their guards, other than LeBron, obviously, point guard. But you're right. I mean, LeBron and AD are the top duo in the NBA. I think we've seen enough of playoff Paul George that we can say that pretty easily. That's coming up next. So they're 2 of the top 5 guys in the league, which is awesome, and that's great, but at the same time, if Danny Green's not even like able to hit a shot, like what are we really doing here? What are we talking about? So, who is the third leading scorer
for the Lakers?
Yeah, who do you think it is right now through the playoffs? It's obviously for the first 5 games, so small sample size, but still.
J.R. Smith.
It's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, former Detroit Piston.
Jeez.
That was a waste of a first-round pick for the Pistons.
I thought it was going to be J.R. just because I know he had like a great game when he tied Kobe for the most 3-pointers in the playoffs. So I'm like, oh, he probably's up there. So
how often do you look at like per? Like, because I feel like now it's like people use like plus minus net rating stuff like that.
Not that often.
So I don't either, but we're just done because I noticed it. J.R. Smith has a negative per, and I don't think that's good. He has like a -6.
Jeez.
And he's playing like 10, 15 minutes a game, so it's not like he went in there for like 3 minutes and left.
I don't even know how that's possible. The amount, like you said, the amount of minutes he's getting, how is that even possible?
I think the average is like 15. That's like a decent NBA player, so and the best players are around 30. So yeah, negative, I want to say 6. I saw on ESPN today.
Jeez.
It's JR. It's JR for you.
See, that's the thing, too. Like,
how is he in the league?
I don't know. I guess LeBron really likes him.
How many players do you think you could go through and look at rosters now and be like, okay, yeah, LeBron just liked this guy? Yeah. I feel like we could do like a 10-minute segment on this. Like especially from the Cleveland days, be like, Boobie Gibson got an
I think he likes these guys because he's not going to get pushback from these guys. He's like, I can tell JR what to do. Yeah. Like, JR's going to be on my team and he's going to listen to me. That's why JR's on my team.
Oh, man. JR's a beloved figure in Cleveland. They love him to death for that 2016 NBA Finals. All right. Clippers-Dallas. This is probably the most interesting series, for sure.
It was a really entertaining series to watch.
So I was personally hoping that Dallas would move up a spot or something because I think they easily could have taken out Denver or Houston or OKC or whoever. Unfortunately, they didn't, and so Luka had a valiant effort. And I mean, we haven't been touching too much on the losers here, but I think we could talk about Luka a bit here because it's pretty clear he's going to be the best player in the league at some point in the next couple of years, easily. Multiple MVPs, stuff like that, all that, whatever. And if you think I'm overstating, go watch because he's insane.
No,
so
I think if any Mavericks fans are out there listening, I don't even know any Mavericks fans.
I know one. I discovered I know one in the past couple of weeks. Yeah, my PLC mentor.
You should be really happy with the future of the Mavericks. No, Luka's amazing. He's definitely going to be probably the top player in the next 4 years, I would say.
Yeah.
He's just on track for that. He, like you said, he on a bad ankle, the way he was playing was phenomenal. I don't know how, because not to discredit Luka or anything, but he's not the most athletic guy on the court. Mm-mm. He's not the biggest guy on the court. He's not the fastest guy on the court, but he scores. He finds a way to score. That's what makes him so special.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, too, it was before the drafts, obviously, I'm not, a scout. I don't go out to watch these guys. But, I watch some college basketball, especially the top guys, because the Pistons always have a top pick. I was watching some of the Real Madrid stuff from when he played and over in Europe. And, I mean, I think we might have a lot of people, obviously, before the draft, he came in as a seasoned pro in the sense that, not like other foreigners, 19-year-old foreigners or 18-year-old foreigners do, especially college kids, DeAndre Ayton now, he looked pretty good for Phoenix, obviously, during their 8-0 run in the bubble, but he went number 1 in that draft, but, it's just, he took some time to acclimate and get in, that's a 7-foot, whatever, monster of a man playing at Arizona D1 ball, but Luka came in immediately almost in year 2 already, he's always showing these flashes, it's crazy.
No, that's a good point, just him, playing professional basketball over there in Spain. It gave him that confidence because he has an immense level of confidence, and that's what's making him so successful. And I was watching some stuff was trending online when he was balling out this playoffs, and reporters and analysts giving their take on Luka before he got drafted. And this guy is gonna be like a Ricky Rubio. He'll be good, but he's not gonna be great. This guy's gonna be this. This guy's gonna be that. And look at him now. He's gonna be one of the best players in the league.
Those guys are dumb. Better than Ricky Rubio. I'm sorry. That I don't think I was ever in the cards. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's good for Maverick fans. I've also been this. KP's one of my guys. You just get guys where you're defending them. I still haven't completely given up on Josh Jackson yet. The former Kansas guy. I saw him in the NCAA tourney. I was like, this kid's pretty solid, but no. KP, I've always been a big defender of him. Obviously, he showed it. He started really playing well. Stuff like that. Obviously, before he got ejected, all that jazz. So. I threw this idea to you for the offseason. I think it's a good idea. We'll do it with someone else too, with a podcast. Who can you win with as your number 2? And I think KP is one of the great examples. Can you win a title if KP is your number 2? We don't have to answer it now, but I think that's going to be the big question for the Mavericks going into the offseason. And they have a solid, a lot of these teams, a solid collection of young guys. Dwight Powell's pretty good. You have
Tim Hardaway.
Yep, Tim Hardaway. He's on a bad contract though. He's not getting traded. Maxi Kleber, for instance, coming off the bench, stuff like that. They have a solid group of guys. Jalen Brunson, another one. But where's that push? And I feel like they could also, be in the mix for another type of player that comes up, even if it's not a superstar type player that could come up to better complement Luka. Because the one issue with Luka is his defense, and of course that's the hardest thing to pick up in it. But KP isn't necessarily a rim protector either, even though he's 7'3". He's actually probably better from the perimeter, which is crazy to say. So I feel like they have some questions, but I feel like, if you tell me the Mavericks win the title in 5-6 years, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't either, especially how the effort they put up right now, it kind of gives them hope. Because I think that's what a lot of these teams lack, is just the hope. And because you see obviously the Lakers, these super teams, and then you see the Clippers, and then you're you don't even think of the Mavericks or even having a chance. The Dallas Mavericks, there's no way they come out of the West. People probably think Rockets before they think Mavericks, but I think like you said, if they would have ended up in a different seeding, they probably would have beat any other team but the Clippers. They could have beat the Mavericks. They could beat Denver, Utah, whatever, depending. But you're not gonna beat them.
Yeah,
the Clippers.
No, not this iteration of the Clippers. So transitioning over to the Clippers. Kawhi is Kawhi. Dominant performance throughout the series on all all accounts, everything defense, whatever offense. Paul George. Here are his 6-game scoring numbers. I love pulling this up because sometimes you just see the variation. It's crazy. All right. So this is the man they traded a ton of crap for, if you recall, right? All this stuff recently, and basically mortgaged their future here for Paul George. All right. 27, game 1. Pretty good. 14, game 3. Or game 2, sorry. I don't know how to count. 11, game 3. 9, game 4. 35, game 5. Game 6, 15. They're not winning the title with those type of numbers.
No, you're right. I'm pulling something up right now. When I watch Paul George play, he reminds me a lot of Terrence Ross. And I'm like, I feel like the Clippers would be better off with Terrence Ross and Paul George at this point. As I was pulling up the stats to see.
Oh my God. I've heard a lot of Paul George insults recently, just because at this point we have years and years of his work to see that a lot of times he's not the best in the playoffs. That playoff P does not exist. If you recall, the Terrence Ross comparison, that's rough. That's a low for Paul George. That is a low, and I can't completely disagree though.
Yeah,
I can't.
No, yeah, it's because I don't know what it is with him. He's never he's been an all-star, but he's never been a superstar, in my opinion. But people have believed in him as a superstar. Obviously, the Thunder believed he was a superstar, so they brought him over there, and then that didn't work out. And then the Clippers gave him another chance, and he's considered a superstar on the team. But I don't think he's obviously a great player, but I don't think he's a superstar. And I feel like a lot of that pressure also of him having to carry the role of being a superstar is kind of affecting his game.
Yeah, certainly could. I know there's a press conference where he kind of talked about that a little bit. I just I don't know, there's that one year he was third in MPV, making my own awards, MVP voting and stuff like that. I forgot what year it was. It's been a while now. I think it was with OKC actually. But it's just, we have the evidence. And the thing with Kawhi, right, obviously, because where I fall a little short on the Lakers, or I mean the Clippers, sorry. God, I'm all over the place right now. That Kawhi led the Raptors kind of single-handedly almost to the title, right? I mean, he had a lot of supporting cast like that, but if you look at who he went through, right? He went through the Sixers, I don't even want to say it. Spend more time on them. He went through a singly led Giannis team, basically. Even though Milwaukee, once again, good supporting cast, but just talking about superstars. And then the Warriors, who at that point were just decimated with injuries. So if Paul George keeps this level of inconsistency up, he wins 1 or 2 games, and that's it in each series, and Kawhi is the one keeping the scoring load, I mean, they're not going to make it past the Lakers because AD and LeBron will, especially with AD with Kawhi, will be able to do that. So I'm saying you just need a little bit of Paul George production here because Kawhi can deliver it, but against these type of teams, I'm not so sure.
No, yeah, you're right. But the thing you're right. You don't need a lot from Paul George, but you need a little bit more than what he's giving out. Just because you don't need a lot from him, because the Clippers they're also a well balanced team, well coached. So, and obviously he's gonna have his 30+ points and whatever.
Yeah.
So you don't need a crazy performance from Paul George. So more than 20 points would be nice.
Oh yeah, you would think, and he hit that twice against Dallas. And Dallas isn't the best defensive team.
They're not.
They're not at all. They're a great offensive team, but they got to figure out the defensive portion there. So, on to then our 2 series that are still going on. Houston can close out OKC tonight. I think they probably will.
Yeah,
I would bet.
No, yeah, they definitely will.
So, okay, let's play along here. LA, Houston, the Lakers.
Yeah.
Take the Lakers,
Yeah.
I'll say 5-6. I don't know what they do going forward. Houston. I mean,
I think 5. Yeah, I don't think Houston takes them to 6. I don't think. Yeah.
I mean, Houston's just so weird because Harden's great, but at some point, we need
Westbrook.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about Russell Westbrook. he got a lot better. He did get a lot better just in the style, and then he got hurt.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's still out, correct?
He played last
Played
game.
last game. Okay.
Then that was the first game back.
Yeah. That's a matchup of a lot of my not favorite players. Russell Westbrook's in that series. Dennis Schroeder's in that series.
Yeah, and also the Rockets, who's gonna guard AD?
Yeah.
Like
PJ Tucker.
Like, AD's gonna have like 40 every game.
Do you think PJ Tucker like is like a UFC fighter that's facing like an undefeated monster guy where he's just like, oh my god, like the day before he's like, oh, I'm looking it up like,
Yeah.
what the hell? I'm 6'6". Like I am 6'6". I'm tall, not this tall. Like, I mean, he does it well. But even like the Rockets beat the Lakers, I remember in the regular season, and the AD was just like, it was just weird. It's not even like it's that effective. I don't know. I mean, all credit to Daryl Morey for just going all in on certain things. I don't really know what other options he had with the Chris Paul contract. So maybe he'll just keep trading bad contracts for bad contracts like that. Do we get a Russell Westbrook John Wall swap coming up this offseason? Just keep recycling. Russell Westbrook for Blake Griffin?
Blake Griffin.
Oh man, no, I don't know. I have no clue.
Honestly, Blake Griffin would be a good not Russell Westbrook for Blake Griffin, but Blake Griffin would be like a good player. A type of player they need for that team.
Yeah, for the first 10 games he's not injured for. And like I love Blake Griffin. He's the only NBA jersey I own, people. But for the Pistons, the nice Motor City ones that came out a couple of years ago. But I'm just as a team, the person that's paying him $35 million, is that team or whatever it is right now. I mean, he played 9 games this year and then just like I don't even know what the injury was. He was just done the whole year.
Probably his knee or something. His knee or back.
I know he's a great player.
Did he tear his ACL like his first season and then was like
yeah. He was the OG process.
Yeah.
With the Clippers back then. No, I mean, and I fully blame Stan Van Gundy on that trade, and I still can't listen to him commentate now because of it, because I just get so angry. Anyway, another thing I get angry at Stan Van Gundy. Here we go. Transition, A-list. Donovan Mitchell's averaging 39 points a game.
Really? I didn't even know that. In
their series with the Denver Nuggets. And I won't say I've always been in on Donovan Mitchell too much, because he's been flip-floppy. I will just say, though, that the back half of the lottery one year, whatever year they were drafted, the Pistons took Luke Kennard over Donovan Mitchell. Literally one pick before Utah took him. Same exact position and everything. I wanted Mitchell. He was in the mock draft. I didn't think he would turn into this, obviously. But it just kind of, like, rips me apart, because you mentioned you're like, oh, the Pistons like drop back in the draft this year. They actually have less pressure. I'm like, Sal, it doesn't matter where we draft. Like, if you look at the last 8 years of Pistons drafting, it's ugly. Anyway, I'm sorry, we don't need to do Pistons here. Nobody cares, as they shouldn't, because we're horrible. Okay, back on track. Denver, Utah, weird series.
Yeah, it is. I think those teams are pretty even, in my opinion. It could go either way. I have no idea how it was gonna go, but it doesn't really matter. Whoever comes out of that series is going to end up losing to the Clippers. But, I don't know. Obviously, I think Denver's a little bit hot right now these last 3 games. Murray has been lighting it up, so I feel like they're a little bit more hot. But, obviously, Donovan Mitchell's not going to back down without a fight either.
Right. That Game 7 is tomorrow as well. You're right. Jamal Murray, 50, 42, 50 the last 3 games. Yeah. But he's another one where it's just so frustrating where it's like you have the caliber to be a second-team All-NBA guy, and you're just not consistent.
Yeah.
I feel like Denver is ripe for shakeup this summer as well. No matter what happens, if they win, like you said, I think they'll get knocked out by LA easily. So either way, whatever. I just think like that you have Jokic, who is a foundational superstar, top 10 in the league easily. And I know people will do it, but like, how many guys do you actually have in your top 10? Because you say for a bunch of these guys, but no, Jokic should be in everyone's top 10 easily. He's so good.
So talented.
Michael Porter's starting to look pretty good for them as well.
Finally, yeah.
So I like a lot of their pieces, but I don't know, like, does Murray make sense next to Jokic? I don't know. I saw an article published. I didn't send it to you. I thought about it, and I just didn't, so I apologize that I did not prepare you. But that Denver should be the team to trade for if Ben Simmons is available. They should trade because he's a perfect type of player where you can have him be on the wing cutting and stuff like that, and Jokic can stretch it out as the playmaker from the 3-point line anyway, so Simmons can play down low. But also he covers Jokic's back end because he's one of the best defenders in the league.
I like that. I actually really like that a lot.
Problem is you have to give up Murray, most likely, right?
Yeah, no, you have to.
So that's the thing. It's like it's these tough choices, but Denver has a lot of those kind of...
I feel like Denver would give up Murray for Ben Simmons.
They should.
Yeah.
They would probably have to give up more than just Murray, but like, I don't know either. I would have to look at the salary stuff like that, but like, because Ben Simmons, as much as he can't shoot, he is like, if I were Philly, I'd rather keep Ben Simmons and Joel at this point.
Yeah. Especially like, I don't know. I feel like the big man, especially Joel, if he's just not built for the fast NBA, I believe.
He doesn't seem like he cares either.
Yeah. If he was around 10 years ago, I think he would be the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
But now, not so much.
Yeah. No, I agree. So it's a tough one there. So I mean, I know we're kind of just poo-pooing the series, but at the end of the day, like, it's fun. Game 7s are fun, but at the end of the day, I mean, they're gonna be decided by the Clippers in 5 games most likely.
That's gonna be a good series though, Clippers-Lakers. After the
Yes, in the Western Conference
hopefully
Finals.
if it happens.
Yeah, and literally, I had it pulled up. Literally, they're neck and neck for odds. It's the Clippers, Lakers at like barely plus money, and then you go into all the other ones are like 22-1 to make it out of the West. So we're gonna keep it going, right? We already said it. I'm still on Lakers, you're still on Clippers, though I feel a little less confident.
Yeah, and I'm still on Clippers. But it's like you said, the Lakers make a lot of sense too, just because they have the better duo.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just Paul George is so maddening to me because he could, like, in this type of thing too. He could, like, there's no crowd. It's about odd setting. He could just be like, all right, I'm gonna have a good 5 games, and bam, that's all you need.
Yeah.
That's all he needs when you're playing with someone like Kawhi. I just haven't seen enough of it yet to make me into a converting. And we both think the LA teams would beat Boston, right?
Yeah.
That's coming from the other side.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but yeah, it's gonna happen. Whoever wins the West is gonna win the finals. There's the East teams. They're good, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like I get like 2010, like 2008-9, like the big 3 Boston vibes with the fact where it's like, because those teams, like Kevin Garnett was on the end decline, so was Ray Allen. Paul Pierce was kind of like, he's still, obviously they're all superstars, but they're still like on that back half of their career. And that they came across Kobe, lost, and then they came back and won. And it was just like that 1 year where like they put it all together 1 year, then it just combusted. I feel like that's what this Boston team's going to go for at some point.
You think so?
I mean, they're obviously young, but I feel like, like there's... It depends on how good Tatum is, obviously. But just thinking about it, trying to be like... I feel like there's just going to be 1 year where they put it all together, like the pieces align. Kind of like Toronto last year, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Just without the trade for
I can
Kawhi.
see that.
I don't know. We'll see.
Brad Stevens seems like the guy that's like going to build like a... kind of like a Spurs little dynasty where they'll win a few championships here and there.
Could be, yeah.
And then they'll be in the playoffs every year, but not do anything, but just be in there.
Especially when Giannis goes to Golden State next year. I mean, they won't have anyone else in the West. I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, just for the sake of the league. But, like, I don't know. I feel like he's the type of guy that kind of likes that challenge because he knows. He knows if he goes to the Warriors instant finals, they're there. Like, that's it. But I feel like he's... Something about him tells me that he likes the challenge. But I do think he's going to end up leaving Milwaukee.
I wonder who the Warriors are going to trade for with that second pick. There's no way they use it because we've talked like
especially this draft.
This draft is horrible. So I wonder who they're going to trade that pick for.
Even if it was a good draft, I don't think they would use it either.
No.
I don't know.
Bradley Beal.
That's yeah, that could be it.
I don't know how. I mean, the Wizards are the one team that'd be like, yeah, number 2 pick, sweet, awesome. Haven't even done their homework yet on the prospects.
Yeah.
Who's stupid enough to take that deal? I don't know. Whoever Detroit has in charge for sure. Like number 2 pick. Yeah. Well, we don't even have any players that are worth that actually.
The Magic will give a Vucevic or something.
God, we're surprised he stayed here anyway. Yeah, there you go. Magic, because we thought he was going to leave.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Other NBA thoughts here.
No, that's it. I'm glad we got the NBA this year.
Yeah.
I'm glad everything's safe.
Yes.
It's happening. They're just what they're doing as a whole as a league. It's amazing.
Yeah, for sure, and especially with stuff going on recently, with Jacob Blake and stuff like that they were able to postpone, protest, all that stuff, and then bring it on back and such like that, and get to a place where both the players and the league are comfortable.
Yeah, the league's holding itself accountable. Like they're putting forth the effort and paving the way for other sports leagues.
Yeah, literally hockey just copied them after it happened. Like the AHL was like, we want to play. And then they're like, no. We're like, all right, fine. So yeah, you're right though. The NBA being a leader, it has been for a lot of stuff with the bubble as well and stuff like that. So credit to Adam Silver.
Yes.
And that now we get to the series that really mattered. That we're really going to find out who wins the 1.5 level champion.
1.5.
That's what I'm going to start calling out. But yeah, thanks for coming on again as always.
Of course, it's fun always to come out here and chat it up about NBA.
Yeah, especially in the new studio.
Yeah, in the new studio. It's almost as good as Joe Rogan's.
Almost. With a quarter of the investment. No, I think it costs millions. Oh, man. All right, take care.